Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Coffee, where in today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at how Rey Skywalker was originally Rey Kenobi. That's today here on Star Wars Coffee. Greetings, Exalted Ones. Greetings to all you Jedi, Padawans, and younglings out there. This is Star Wars Coffee, covering everything you need to know about the latest developments, news, and leaks in Star Wars, and as always, giving you my analysis. Rey Skywalker, Rey Kenobi, Rey Palpatine, Rey anybody. This was all a bunch of theories during the course of the sequel trilogy when everybody was trying to figure out whose Rey's parents were. We were all trying to ascertain the truth. We were all combing through all of the films, all of the novelizations, all of the canon material to figure out who Rey's parents were. I remember doing a bunch of Rey's parents videos, a bunch of Rey theory videos, and my goodness, they were fun to do, but now that we finally have an answer, it was essentially not a answer that we could have ever came away with on our own. So Daisy Ridley has officially confirmed that Rey Kenobi was an option for the sequel trilogy. So this is a report from Grant Davis over at Star Wars Newsnet. Last December, we got a clear answer to the question of Rey's heritage, albeit not without controversy, in Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, in which it was uncovered that Rey was a descendant of the Galactic Emperor himself, Palpatine. But a recent interview with Daisy Ridley reveals that another option was on the table while they were working on the film. Rey at one point was going to be related to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, taking a pause from the piece, if you ask me, it was simple that it was either going to be a prominent character that Rey was going to be related to. I was always on the Rey Skywalker train. It made the most sense. It seems that's what JJ had set up. But after Rian Johnson came in and put a wedge in between JJ's 7 and JJ's 9, it seems that JJ kind of had to do what he could with what was left of it, given the sense that Rey in the cave scene, where her parents were revealed as no one, and that was what we were supposed to be fed and believed at that point. So it seemed to me that it was the two likely options were either Rey Kenobi or Rey Skywalker, and we ended up getting Rey Palpatine. So continuing on, Jimmy Kimmel live guest host Josh Gad asked Daisy Ridley some questions about her role in Star Wars when he met the question of whether or not she knew what Rey's parentage was from the moment that she set foot on The Force Awakens. She gave a pretty clear-cut answer: no. Which I think we all knew at this point of who Rey's parents were. If you remember way back during The Force Awakens, during Daisy Ridley's interview process for that film, after the screening of the film, she came out and did an interview and said she thought it was pretty obvious who Rey's parents were, and I think that she was obviously referring to Luke. I would really love to get an interview with her and just confirm that, yeah, I thought it was Luke, and that would be really satisfactory to, I think, a lot of us, knowing that what the original intention was going to be. So, at the beginning, here's what Daisy says. At the beginning, there was toying with an Obi-Wan connection. There were, like, different versions. Daisy Ridley explained that they had lots of different ideas as they were making the movies, including the concept that she really was nobody, which is what they seemingly went with in The Last Jedi, before turning around and explaining that there was more to the story. Ridley explained that when she was being pitched The Rise of Skywalker, she was told that Rey was related to Sheev Palpatine. However, she noted that in a few weeks later, the creative team on the final Star Wars project in the Skywalker saga was trying to figure out what the answer to that story element was actually going to be, a process that left Daisy herself, portrait of Rey, was left in the dark with this idea even up to filming process taking place. Both possibilities, interestingly enough, were alluded back to in The Force Awakens, with the flashback sequence among the various voices that Rey hears in her vision, where she hears Sheev Palpatine, where it says, "Any Jedi," and a snippet of a line borrowed from Revenge of the Sith, and notably the Sith voice that she hears during that sequence, and Obi-Wan Kenobi with clever audio editing showing Alec Guinness to say, "Rey?" while Ewan McGregor whispers, "These are your first steps," the sole line he recorded for that film. While Abrams gave both The Last Jedi director Rian Johnson and Colin Trevorrow, who was originally set to write and direct Episode 9, which he called Duel of the Fates. Quick side note, Duel of the Fates would have been a fantastic 8 instead of what we actually got, and I have that whole thing outlined on the channel, so I encourage you guys to go check out that playlist, Original Episode 9. It is quite a movie, and the way that Colin Trevorrow handles the Force is supremely on target. Continuing on. While Abrams gave both The Last Jedi director Rian Johnson, Colin Trevorrow, while we had all of these possibilities, room came up with their own answers. Abrams fell back on these two ideas before ultimately settling on tying Rey's story to the resurgent arc villain of the Skywalker saga. Nonetheless, both the younger and older versions of Kenobi are heard once again at the film's end, in which she finally makes contact with the Jedi who preceded her in the time for her final trial, as the fate of the Star Wars galaxy hangs in the balance. When pressed for details about who Rey's grandmother might be, Daisy Ridley joked, "You tell me." The official in-canon story, as revealed by the novelization, is that Rey does not actually have a paternal grandmother, and that her father, quote-unquote, was actually an imperfect clone of Palpatine who lacked any Force potential whatsoever, and he had a daughter with a woman after he escaped from Exegol somehow. Technically, we don't know much about Rey's mother, so it could always turn out that she was the grandniece of the Jedi Master or something if they really want to go there. So if you ask me, I think that in some type of future novelization, they're going to continue to rewrite Rey's parents and Rey's history, because the answer that they gave in the novelization, if Palpatine's clone was imperfect of the Force, I don't know how he was able to give Rey such powerful Force abilities if the clone of Palpatine was not actually Force sensitive. But I'm sure we're going to get a retcon somewhere in some novelization or the Rise of Skywalker comic, which I cannot wait for that to come out. That's going to be fantastic, because there's going to be excluded scenes from the film in that, as well as scenes that were never even written for the film. So we're going to continue to get more canon content for the Rise of Skywalker. Some more retconning done, I'm sure, will take place, and hopefully the novelization's lackluster answer of what actually takes place for Rey to be a Palpatine is much more concrete, or they tie one of her parents' lineage to someone else who was actually Force sensitive. Because the way they did it in the novelization, to me, was not very satisfactory. Making Palpatine a clone was also not satisfactory. It's just, it was a, well, Ian McDiarmid, you cannot really say anything bad about the guy. He's just fantastic, and he makes The Rise of Skywalker worth the rewatch over and over again, just because he's such a powerful performer. He's so excellent. And so Ian McDiarmid, I would just really like to have a better version of how Palpatine survived and what the process was. So I'm hoping in some type of novelization they dive deep into that, whether it be a standalone Palpatine post Revenge of the Sith to, you know, the Return of the Jedi, where he's implementing this plan and all this cloning process, or whether we just get a Return of the Jedi to this sequel trilogy portion, laying out Palpatine's plan and how he survived, more detailed, clearly following him as the character. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching. May God bless you and the Force be with you always. If you enjoyed this episode, and frankly, even if you didn't, don't forget to subscribe. Do it. And if you want to help spread the word, please give this video a thumbs up and tell your friends to subscribe. Please check out the official Star Wars Coffee merchandise, and don't forget to check out all of the content playlists on this channel, including The Rise of Skywalker, The Mandalorian, and much more.